Star Trek has given us great content again. Remember when you were watching Mando season 2 and they did all of the awesome cameos? We saw Boba Fett, we saw Luke Skywalker. They actually made real new content with legacy characters, and it's really well made, and there isn't really any fuck-ups to be seen, and there's actually really good editing. Also, we know where that Star Trek Discovery budget went. I am just so sick of just reviewing the mediocrity that has been coming out of Star Trek Discovery Season 4. As a Star Trek Discovery fan, I have just been thinking that this season has been extremely subpar, and you could just see from a mile away the budget, the editing, the time that they're taking to make these episodes of Discovery is lacking, and I could just see they've been saving all that juice, all that money, all that time, all those editors for this series right here for Picard. It almost seems like Picard is the new flagship series. It used to be Discovery, but now after seeing this first episode, this was good Star Trek. This is legitimately great Star Trek. I had such a good time watching this episode. Oh my gosh. Let's just get right into it. Welcome back to another one of my Star Trek reviews. I'm really excited. Something that's really annoying though, Paramount Plus is the worst streaming service in the world. They literally do nothing that I like ever. The only thing that Paramount Plus has ever done that I liked is create the Mayor of Kingstown show with Jeremy Renner. That's like the only thing that I could give Paramount Plus a pat on the back for, but other than that, why are you dropping both episodes, both the new Star Trek episodes tonight at the same time? Just drop it tomorrow, so I have something to watch tonight and I have something to watch tomorrow. I don't need 2 hours of Star Trek all at once, and it's just annoying for me personally as a reviewer, because now I have to review Star Trek Discovery tomorrow. I'm definitely not gonna do that shit tonight. No way in hell. Tonight, it's all about Picard, baby. Episode 1, titled The Stargazer, and the Stargazer is back. Chris Rios is captaining. 1.5 years has all it's been from what I took away from the dialogue in this episode, and damn, the Picard juice is pretty strong. Picard's string pull is extremely strong, actually, when you consider the fact that Chris Rios has basically gone from being Han Solo to now being a full-on Starfleet captain with a damn commission of a new ship that, by the way, it was revealed in this episode that the new Stargazer ship that Chris Rios is actually captaining was created with new, like, Borg technology. And we actually learned so much about the Borg in this episode. We learned so much about the Star Trek universe. There are actual questions that I've had when watching season 1 that are answered. I think they actually took our criticisms and the stuff that we nitpicked about season 1, I could just see that they've resolved some of the issues already in the beginning of season 2. I just feel really good about this, guys. For the first time in a while, I feel really good about Star Trek. I'm sorry, I've just been getting a little bit down on myself watching these Discovery episodes, and then they also just announced the goddamn 4th movie in the Kelvin timeline. Can J.J. Abrams just die already? Why are they still producing Kelvin timeline movies? Just make something new. Those movies are horrible! This episode starts off basically with the end of the episode. There's this crazy opening scene of the Stargazer, Chris Rios' ship, being shot the hell up. Explosions are happening. Picard is looking at this figure. He's looking them straight in the eye. We really can't see them that well. And then the ship just appears to explode. It's going in the self-destruct sequence, and that's basically just a preface of what's about to come at the end of the episode. After the opening credits were then sent over to Chateau Picard, Picard is harvesting. It's like the end of the season, and then at the end of the day, he sits down and just lounges around with Laris, the ex-Tal Shiar Romulan chick who just kind of stays on Chateau Picard and takes care of Picard and helps him out with things. When I was watching the trailers for the show, I was like, where's Chapon? Isn't there supposed to be another Romulan dude that is with her that was in season 1? Was there a scene in season 1 where he died and I just really wasn't paying attention? But my questions, like I said, were answered in this episode. It is revealed very quickly that Chapon actually died from what appears to be either natural causes or maybe some Tal Shiar. It really is not disclosed. Picard and Laris are just talking to each other. They're having this deep talk, and then Laris starts getting extremely horny. She's definitely hitting on Picard, kind of egging him on to get into his feels, because it just seems like in this episode, and this is just going to be the theme of this whole season, I feel like, is just Picard not finding love ever. Throughout all of the Next Generation, the dude was always interacting with women. There were times when he would actually fall in love with somebody. There was that one episode when he fell in love with somebody under his command. And then there was another episode when he fell in love with Vash, kind of. He has a crush on Vash. I don't know if they were exactly in love. But Picard has always struggled to actually just fall in love and have feelings for somebody. He had that kind of one-off little relationship with Crusher towards the end of The Next Generation. But yeah, this just seems like this is the theme for this season. We're exploring Picard's feelings. We want Picard to fuck. Everybody wants Picard to fuck, basically. They're all looking at Picard like, hey, Picard, you know, you explore the stars. You're this great Starfleet captain. You're not afraid to jump into a goddamn wormhole, but you are afraid to, you know, find love and sit down and just, you know, be happy with somebody for the rest of your life. So these are the implications that Lars is making. And while she's making them, she's getting extremely horny and is hitting on Picard, and they kind of get close, and I'm getting horny. There is a lot of MILFs in this episode. That is another reason why this is one of the best episodes in Star Trek, is just because there's a lot of alien MILFs, and I'm very much here for it. Lars leans in for the kiss. Picard, you know, looks like he wants to kiss her, but then hesitates, and then, moment ruined. You're awkward, Picard. You're not getting any Romulan Russi tonight, buddy. Then after that altercation, Picard goes into this observatory portion of the Chateau Picard mansion, the manor, and something that is extremely sick in this episode is, like, I cannot even stress this enough. There was a lot of Star Trek homage in this episode, from Guinan to the Stargazer to just the props that they were putting, the design of Starfleet Academy, the design of just everything I saw in this episode was very well made. I'm just geeking over it. But something that's really cool is that in this flashback, Picard is seen interacting with his mother, Yvette Picard, who we only got to see once in The Next Generation, and she was like a Force ghost that was being produced by this anomaly. And I don't remember whether she was like kind of Russian sounding or an Italian grandma, but she did not sound like a French grandma in this episode. In the Picard flashback, they just decided to make her a hot white lady. So yeah, it is confirmed that Picard's mom is not only hot, but that she was also definitely abused by Maurice Picard, because Picard is having like these Vietnam flashbacks of his mother and his father fighting. So it is confirmed now in the Star Trek lore that Picard's dad, Maurice Picard, was an abusive asshole. So that's kind of funny. Lars is now talking to Picard about, hey, that was a little bit awkward. We really can't be doing this shit. We can't really just forget all about it. She's making implications like she's gonna leave or something about the relationship is going to change now that she tried to hit on him. You know, I don't really care about any of that, what happens with Lars, because I can see from a mile away that Picard is not meant to get with Lars. I'm making an episode 1 prediction right now that Picard is meant to get with Beverly Crusher. There is going to be a secret Beverly Crusher cameo at the end of this series, and it is going to be something to surpass Metal Gear. It's going to be better than the Riker Titan cameo at the end of Lower Decks. It's going to be like, oh, at the end of the series, by the way, Beverly Crusher, MILF Gates McFadden comes in, aged like a fine wine. This woman just gets finer with age, and she walks in. Her and Picard finally realize their feelings for each other, and they give it another go in their old ripe age, and then they get married and they die happy together, and it's amazing. Lars is getting Picard prepared. He has to go make this speech at Starfleet Academy because he is now the goddamn chancellor of Starfleet Academy. I don't know how Picard does it. He literally just gets whatever he wants. I feel like they need some synthetic representation in the Starfleet tree, and they're like, why don't we hit up that Picard guy? I heard he's now a synthetic. Gives this really incredible speech. He talks about, you know, words of his mother. There's going to be a lot of symbolism of just Picard looking into his past and seeing what kind of feelings that invokes, and how it's going to tie in with the whole theme and direction of this season. And oh, this is so good, dude. Like, season 1 definitely had some real criticisms from me. Like, season 1 was good, but there was just a handful of things that happened in it that just kind of made it a little bit cringe, and it could have been so much better. And I just have real things to criticize about season 1, but it wasn't overly bad. I just have such great expectations for season 2. I'm having so much fun reviewing and watching this right now. Picard, while giving his speech, announces that Elnor is the first ever fully blooded Romulan to join Starfleet. And I like how they said fully blooded Romulan, because that makes me think that there's like somebody in the writer's room who actually knows what he's talking about, because we cannot forget about Simon Tarses from the Drumhead episode, who was like 1/4 Romulan. There have definitely been half Romulans in Starfleet before, but a full-blooded Romulan, the first ever, is Elnor, and that's actually really exciting. Something that I was wondering while watching this is, are they going to allow Elnor to use his sword in Starfleet? Because honestly, if you give this guy a hand phaser, you're kind of nerfing him. Seven of Nine is on La Serena with one of Chris Rios' holograms. It is like a Spanish-speaking one. Seven and the hologram are fighting space pirates, just some miscellaneous space pirates that are aboard the La Serena to steal supplies that are a property of Seven and the Fenris Rangers. Seven just beats the shit out of these pirates. It's a really well choreographed scene. It just makes Seven seem like a total badass. Also, I have to comment, one of the pirates said ugly Borg face to Seven, which just like totally isn't true. Seven of Nine is one of the hottest people alive. And also, if you're a bad guy and you're going through a bunch of space canisters on a spaceship and you're fighting somebody, it's probably a better idea not to just go and yell slurs and insults to your enemy, because you're just going to alert them right to your position, and that's exactly what happens. Seven of Nine kicked that dude's ass. At the end of the Seven of Nine kind of scene, her introduction scene, the Chris Rios hologram like kind of flirts and hits on her a little bit, and then Seven stumbles upon the spatial rift, which at the end of the episode we find that the whole main cast is going to stumble upon the spatial rift, probably minus Elnor. I don't think Elnor's there at the end. Then after that, we are now brought back to Agnes Jurati, Dr. Agnes Jurati, who in the last season did of course commit murder, killed Dr. Bruce Maddox in cold blood. However, there is an explanation for this. She is at a bar on this planet because Soji is there with some synthetics, and she is basically synthetic Spock ambassador Jesus, and she is killing it over here, just making it seem like she's the biggest synthetic sweetheart so that synthetics are more widely accepted in the galaxy, and she's doing a great job of it. Dr. Agnes Jurati is getting lit at the bar. She really likes to drink, and oh boy does she have a lot of reasons to drink. One of the natives of the planet comes up and actually attempts to flirt with her, and Agnes Jurati quickly uses that as an excuse to explain what's been going on with her for the last year and a half, and says how she's barely been cleared for the murder of Dr. Bruce Maddox, and that she's totally not ready for dating now. So yeah, just like I said, I had questions, this episode answered them, and I really liked that about this episode. Basically, Soji is going to continue being an ambassador, and Dr. Agnes Jurati is ripped away and is going to go aboard the Stargazer to assist Rios with something. Chris is just smoking a stogie on board the Stargazer. Dude is actually allowed to smoke a stogie wherever he wants. I am a stud. I am allowed to smoke my stogie. I do not have to find hiding place like you. Yeah, that's Chris Rios basically. I do not know how they allow that dude to just smoke on the bridge. I guess he just does whatever he wants. And what are his bridge crew? Are they going to snitch on him or something? Dr. Agnes Jurati assists him while in a drunken state, by the way, which is pretty funny, in decrypting this little bit of messaging that's coming out of this crazy green spatial rift that has popped up. Cut back to Starfleet Academy. We are now getting some good Raffi dialogue with Picard. Their interactions are actually always so great. Raffi is always a character that's just kind of likable, personable, and I just, really like Michelle Hurd's performance always. They're talking about Seven, of course. This is just a big talking point. Everybody bitched about how at the end of the season they just kind of dropped a little relationship between Rafi and Seven on us, and I do have to agree, the criticisms are warranted. There was no nuance at all. There wasn't enough flirtation or interaction before that to even apply a relationship. They just kind of fucking dropped it on us in the last like 20 seconds of the episode, and it was the weirdest thing ever. And it doesn't really help because Seven of Nine is a character who already historically has matchups that people don't like. Nobody likes that she really got together with Chakotay in Voyager. Like, I listen to a bunch of older Star Trek fans always talk about how they completely hate how Seven got with Chakotay. I never really minded it that much because they kind of, often went and forgot about it by the season finale. But here's the deal, guys. Even though Rafi and Seven's relationship was poorly introduced, I feel like it could be kind of really cool to see in this season. And another thing, no matter who Seven of Nine is with, you guys are just never going to be happy, because I was thinking about this subconsciously. We all want to be with Seven of Nine ourselves. No matter who we see her with, we're just never going to be happy with that pairing. She's a character that just cannot be shipped, I guess. That's my explanation. Picard, now that he's actually the Chancellor of Starfleet Academy, talks about how he wants to finally update the Kobayashi Maru, and Raffi would like to be more of a priority in Seven of Nine's life, but she's busy out there being a Fenris Ranger and beating up space pirates. But Raffi also has like a pretty demanding career at Starfleet, so that's just space love. Elnor is a little bit stressed about everything going on in his life, and Picard helps him out by giving giving him one of his favorite books. It is a memoir, I think, that is written by Spock. He tells him a quote that he likes from the book and he shares it with Elnor and helps cheer him up. And then here's the part in the episode where we all want to cry. Like, literally, I just wanted to cry so badly. This was infinitely better and just way more feeling invoking than the Riker bringing back Guinan and having her have the 10 forward bar on Earth, and Picard going and meeting her and talking about each other's feelings. It was just so good. It's just such good Star Trek. And also another thing that's really cool, I didn't know that Guinan's race had a name. I didn't know that it's already been long revealed. I didn't know that she was an El-Orion because I don't think it was ever revealed in the TNG. There was an El-Orion in an episode of Deep Space Nine that was a con man, and I just never put two and two together that Guinan was a member of the same species. I thought her species was like way more rare and mystical than that, but actually they've been seen a handful of times in the Star Trek canon, like once in one of the TOS movies, and then like I said in Deep Space Nine. So that's really cool. I was educated today when they name dropped El-Orions, because at first I was like, whoa, did they finally give Guinan's race a name? But they've always had one, and I'm just a bad Star Trek fan. But I got schooled today. You learn something new every day, kids. I'm not really going to go like word for word into Picard and Guinan's conversation, other than I could just say it was beautiful. I also really liked how Guinan is the only person in this entire episode to even mention Picard's synthetic body at least a little bit. She was the only one to even bring it up. But Picard and Guinan's conversation is also just a nuanced conversation about how Picard really is good at exploring and facing new challenges, but he's never really been comfortable looking inside himself. And Guinan is also just making this convoluted speech to Picard, but we all really know what she wants him to do. She wants Picard to everybody wants Picard to get a bay. That is basically the summary of that conversation. The Guinan reunion was so beautiful, and I honestly hope that Guinan shows up in another scene in this season. I would like to see more of Guinan. I honestly didn't expect her to be seen in the first episode. I just got like everything I wanted and more out of this first episode. It is really good. A Starfleet official by the name of Sally comes and visits Picard and notifies him about how the spatial message that was translated by Dr. Agnes Jurati actually said, "Help us, Picard," and then also there was some pattern to the message that implied that it was sending Article 15, which is a request to actually join the Federation. And so they basically go ask Picard to go and see it in person. Picard is then shuttled over to the Stargazer. Chris Rios is there, Dr. Agnes Jurati is there, 7 of 9 is there, and it is really, really freaking cool what happens in the last bit of this episode. Oh my god, this is what had me literally like geeking, bro. This was the Luke Skywalker Boba Fett moment of Star Trek, I swear to God. This is why they needed all that money. For these reasons I'm about to list. What happens in the final moment of the episode is that the spatial rift opens, a crazy Borg vessel comes out, and they basically say that they're going to send over the Borg Queen, and that they want peace, and that they want some form of cooperation. They're being very cryptic. Something that I love about this episode is that I really feel like it was written by people who like and are passionate and know a thing about Star Trek, because 7 of 9 actually acts like her character in this episode. She is got a score to settle, like a bone to pick with the Borg. As soon as the Borg show up, she sees them as a threat. She goes Michael Burnham on them. She sees them as a threat that needs to be like immediately destroyed. And Picard and the other people on the ship don't feel the same way. I feel like they really should be a little bit more cautious, but they're over here like, yo, peace and love, man. Let's try to make friends with the Borg, because everything about this interaction with the Borg is totally unprecedented. They're communicating in English. They're like requesting Article 15. And also something that's really cool is that my suspicions have been confirmed, is that at this point in the Star Trek timeline, the Borg have been more or so dealt with. They are trivialized. They are weak. They are, wounded in a sense. They are not a threatening organization anymore in the galaxy. You know, technology and time has passed to the point where we could actually combat and beat the Borg, and they're not this huge body, I imagine, in the Delta Quadrant anymore, especially with probably the events that we're going to learn in Star Trek Prodigy. To summarize the end of the episode, because I really need to get on with this, I've spoken too much. The Borg Queen comes and TPs onto the bridge of the ship. She goes and transports in and breaks the shield. This is like a crazy transporter beam. Goes to the bridge of the ship, communicates with them a little bit, and she's like, we want peace, but first we need power. And then she goes Dr. Octavius on and starts sucking up the bridge. Starts phasering her. The phasers kind of get absorbed and then intricately bounce back at all of the bridge crew members. 7 of 9 confirms that the Borg Queen is only stunning them, so she's not, you know, working them. She's taking control of the ship. 7 of 9 is like, yo, she's taking control of the ship, Picard. Everything's going to shit. You should have killed her when I told you to. You should have done it. Rios and Picard come to the conclusion that they need to activate the auto-destruct sequence because everything is going haywire. Also, before I go any further, I need to give Star Trek Picard all these pat on the backs. Donna, we need to give Star Trek Picard a pat on the back. We need to give him a pat on the back for actually giving us a fleet of Star Trek ships. They know how to fucking animate a fleet of ships. They know how to do it, guys. Remember in season 1 when they introduced the Zhang Ho, the new ship, and Riker was commanding it, and there was that horrible CGI scene where there was just 100 of the same ship copy and pasted over, and it was the most disgusting CGI scene in all of Star Trek to date. And the only thing that actually is behind it probably is the AI synthetic tentacle monster, which was also in the same season. So they actually gave us a fleet of ships in this episode that looks like something out of Deep Space Nine. There's variations. There's even classic Starfleet ship designs that we know of that are recognizable. And also the Stargazer looks so good. It's very faithful to the design of the original Stargazer, except that it just looks really crazy, cool and new and updated and very well choreographed. Not only that, but there was a scene when they're all in the ready room and you could see in the window behind them, you could see the back nacelles of the Stargazer. It's so well done. This episode is so well done. This is where all the Discovery money went. So basically the ship blows up. Nothing. It's just space, and then a very trippy transition to the eye of Jean-Luc. He's in chat to Picard. He's very, very, very confused. He's like, Laris, where are you, Laris? And the only thing that answers his call is a synthetic, like a, you know, factory new synthetic, one that's super bald, doesn't have any features or anything, you know, just one that kind of looks like a slave, like a Siri level or an Amazon Alexa level synthetic. Picard's like, what the devil's going on here? Something isn't right. I just kind of remember dying, and Laris isn't here, and nothing's quite right. Am I going senile and crazy? No, old friend, mon capitan. And I just... it was so good. Q and Picard's interaction. I've been reading so many articles about John Delancey talking about how his performance as Q is, you know, different than something that he's ever done before, and it's really scaring the fuck out of me. But after seeing their interaction, I'm just like, dude, I want to fucking cry. It's literally like Luke Skywalker showing up in The Mandalorian because they deep-faked the motherfucker and made him look young from the TNG, and then he's like, by the way, you look old. I'm gonna be old with you. Dude, I wanted to cry, dude. That's some Jon Favreau Filoni shit. Come on, can we be honest? That is great. That is the best goddamn thing that they have done in Kurtzman Trek. Like, no, literally. Like, that is so sick. That is up there with the revival of Captain Pike. And yeah, that's literally so good. That's one of my favorite things that they've done in Kurtzman Trek ever. And basically, Q just looks at Picard and he's like, this is the journey of the road not taken. This, I don't know if I've ever given a 9.5 or like a 9 on a review like in fucking ages, or if I've ever done that on a Star Trek review. This premiere's getting a 9. This is the Luke Skywalker Boba Fett that everybody loves. They did this episode so well. They fixed like a handful of problems that I was criticizing about it in the first season, like the ships, the writing, the character interactions. It was just all so good. I had no complaints. I enjoyed the whole episode. I really did, and it's such a refreshment. It is such a refreshment from Discovery, because unfortunately I feel like to make this season of Picard so good, they almost had to sap the life out of Discovery. I don't know if it's Paramount in their demands that is making Discovery subpar this season, or if it's just Michelle Paradise running it to the ground. Star Trek Picard is great. Star Trek Picard Season 1 was dodgy, but I feel like Season 2 could probably be one of the best things that has ever happened to Trek ever. What do you guys think? I feel like I've been talking into my camera too long, but I give this episode a 9.5 out of 10. I had a really good time watching Star Trek tonight. I hope you guys did as well. It's actually reinvigorated me. I have some passion flowing through my body now for Star Trek because of this episode, and I I'm just really happy to be able to say that. What did you guys think about the episode? Please leave it down in the comments below. My only prediction here that I can make at this point is that this is going to be like that one episode of the TNG where Q basically changes Picard's timeline to teach him a lesson, except way more convoluted, way more trippy, way more 2021, and also by the end of this season, two things I would like to happen. One, Q needs to be able to put Picard back into a regular human body. He doesn't need to stay a synth until death. That's just weird. Q could easily, like he said in the Next Gen, give your life to you and take it away just like that. Like, he could control life and death very easily. And then two, they're very heavily alluding to Picard like getting a wifey, a bae in this season, and it has to be Dr. Crusher, in my opinion. That has always been my Captain Picard shit. But yeah, I'm gonna stop talking. Thank you so much for watching. If you're enjoying any of the content that you see on the channel, I'd be very flattered if you're to subscribe. I'm working towards 1,000 subscribers, and we're very close, and when I do get there, I am going to get a neck tattoo. So if you want to see me potentially embarrass myself, be sure to hit that big red button. Please leave a comment down below letting me know anything. I literally want to hear your thoughts and feelings on anything ever. I just love YouTube comments. They're my favorite thing in the world. I'm going to be reviewing the new episode of Star Trek Discovery tomorrow night, so look out for that. And with all that being said, y'all have a good one. Live long and prosper.